They thought this was just another quiet HOA shakedown. But before this day was over, one illegal stop would expose how far they were willing to go, and why stopping me was the worst mistake they could have made. You need to comply with HOA regulations immediately. The words hit before I even had time to kill the engine. 2 SUVs boxed me in by the water like I just robbed a bank. One in front, one behind. Doors flew open. No questions, no explanation, just posture and pressure. Authority first, logic never. One of them already had a baton out, resting loose in his hand like he was itching to use it. The other stayed half a step back, his fingers hovering near his holster, eyes sharp, eager, like today might finally be exciting. I shut the engine off. Slow. Careful. I stepped out exactly how you're supposed to when someone wants you scared. Calm movements, no sudden turns. I angled my body slightly away and placed my hands behind my back, palms together. What they couldn't see was my right hand wrapped firmly around the grip of my concealed sidearm. Clean, hidden, controlled, not threatening, not flashing it, just ready. They didn't notice. "Stay right there," the baton guy shouted. "You're being detained for HOA code violations." I looked straight at him. HOAs don't conduct traffic stops. "You violated restricted access," the armed one snapped. "We have authority to detain you and search your vehicle." "No, you don't," I said calmly. "HOAs don't have police powers, and you absolutely don't have the right to search my car." That's when their tone changed. "This isn't a request," the baton guy said, stepping closer. "Hands where we can see them." I didn't move, didn't shake, didn't argue. My hands stayed exactly where they were, behind my back, waiting. They thought they'd caught another homeowner who'd panic and comply, someone who'd fold under uniforms and fake authority. They had no idea who they'd stopped or how badly they were about to miscalculate. Before we go any further, drop a comment and tell me what country you're watching from, because what happened next still shocks people no matter where they live. To understand why 2 fake HOA cops felt bold enough to ambush me on a neighborhood road, you need the backstory. My name is Daniel Cross. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I moved into this neighborhood quietly, paid my dues, followed the law. I don't argue with HOAs. I document them. That's what made Marissa Cole, the HOA president, hate me. She loved control, invented rules, selective enforcement, fear over legality. Most neighbors folded when she sent letters or threatened fines. I didn't. I asked for documentation, quoted state statutes, refused to play along. So she escalated. First came the letters, then warnings, then enforcement patrols. And now this. 2 men pretending to be cops, trying to turn a public road into their personal jurisdiction. The armed one shifted his stance. His hand crept closer to his gun. The baton tightened in the other man's grip. Neither of them noticed my breathing slow. Neither saw the tension drain from my shoulders. Because they didn't know they'd stopped the wrong homeowner, and they had no idea what was about to happen next. "Turn around," the baton guy barked. "Hands behind your back. You're being detained under HOA authority." "I'm not resisting," I said evenly, "but you don't have authority to detain me. Step back and leave." The armed one's jaw clenched. His hand came off the holster. And that was the point of no return. The moment his gun came up, I knew 2 things at once. He didn't know what he was doing, and this was about to turn irreversible. He drew halfway and leveled it at my chest like it was muscle memory. Except it wasn't. His grip was wrong. Elbow flared out, finger already inside the trigger guard. Sloppy, dangerous. "On your knees!" he shouted. At the same time, the baton guy rushed forward, trying to close the gap fast. Overwhelmed first, think later. Classic fake authority move. Intimidate before doubt creeps in. Everything collapsed into seconds. The baton swung first. It cracked into my ribs hard enough to rip the air out of my lungs. White pain, sharp, blinding, but it also cleared my head. Then the gun went off. The round tore through my upper arm, burning hot, spinning me sideways as blood sprayed instantly. Not fatal, but real, very real. I didn't fall. I moved. I stepped offline and brought my hand free from behind my back, drawing in one smooth motion. No hesitation, no wasted movement. For half a heartbeat, the armed HOA cop froze because he suddenly realized he wasn't the only one with a gun. I fired once, low. The round slammed into his leg and he went down screaming, his weapon skidding across the pavement as he collapsed near the water. The baton guy lunged again, panic flooding his face, confidence gone, form gone, just wild swings now. I tried to backpedal, but the injury slowed me. The baton caught my shoulder this time and drove me to one knee. "Drop it!" I shouted, bringing the pistol up. He didn't. I fired again, controlled, precise. He dropped hard, clutching his leg as the baton clattered away and his scream cut through the air. Then, silence. Both of them down, both alive, both suddenly very aware of how badly they'd screwed up. I stayed where I was, breathing through the pain, keeping the gun trained until I was sure neither could move. Blood soaked my sleeve, my arm throbbed, but my head was clear. I kicked their weapons out of reach and stepped back. "You had no authority," I said flatly. "None." The armed one sobbed, pressing his leg. "We were just enforcing HOA rules." "No," I said. "You were impersonating law enforcement and trying to detain me at gunpoint." I pulled my phone out with my good hand and dialed. 911, I said calmly. "Two armed men impersonating officers attempted an unlawful detention. Shots fired in self-defense. I've been hit. Suspects are down. Send police and medical." I ended the call and kept my eyes on them as sirens began to echo in the distance. That's when it finally hit them. They hadn't stopped a homeowner. They'd stopped the wrong man. If this HOA story has you hooked so far, like and subscribe, because what happens next exposes just how deep this went. The sirens arrived fast. Real patrol cars, real deputies, real authority. They came in hard, guns drawn, voices sharp and controlled. They took in the scene in seconds. Two men bleeding on the ground, an abandoned SUV blocking the road, weapons scattered, and me standing off to the side, my injured arm pressed tight against my chest. "Drop the weapon," a deputy shouted. I didn't argue, didn't explain. I set my pistol down slowly and stepped back, hands open. "I'm the caller," I said. "I was shot. I returned fire in self-defense." They moved on the two HOA imposters first. Tourniquets, handcuffs, radios lighting up with rapid updates. One of them screamed about his leg. The other just shook, over and over, repeating the same sentence like it might save him. And that's when I realized this was no longer just about the shooting. We were just enforcing HOA rules. The deputy didn't even raise his voice when he turned to him. "HOAs don't carry guns." That was the moment the fantasy died. An EMT wrapped my arm tight while another officer took my statement. I told them everything. The stop, the fake authority, the attempted detention, the baton, the gun, the first shot fired at me. No drama, just facts. When they asked who I was, I handed over my ID. U.S. Army. Honorable discharge. The tone shifted instantly. Not admiration, not favors, just understanding. They pulled footage from my dash cam, then body cam video from a jogger nearby who'd been recording the stop without anyone noticing. Phone records from the HOA SUVs followed. Messages, calls, timelines. By nightfall, the picture was clear. By morning, it was official. All charges against me were formally declined. Self-defense. Clear. Justified.
The two fake HOA cops weren't so lucky. They were charged with impersonating law enforcement, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, false imprisonment, conspiracy, illegal use of firearms, and attempted kidnapping under color of authority. The armed one would never walk normally again. He took a plea deal and got 14 years in state prison. The baton carrier got 11. But the story didn't end with them, because once detectives started digging into HOA records, everything unraveled. Emails from Marissa Cole.
Orders to increase enforcement presence. Texts demanding compliance through intimidation. Draft HOA codes that were never voted on, never approved, never legal. Payment records tied directly to the two men she'd sent after me. She didn't confess. She didn't have to. The paper trail buried her. Marissa Cole was arrested for conspiracy to commit aggravated assault, directing armed impersonation, abuse of authority, fraud, witness intimidation, and orchestrating unlawful detentions. She was sentenced to 22 years in state prison and ordered to pay full restitution, medical bills, legal fees, civil damages. Over $480,000. The HOA collapsed within weeks. Board members resigned. Rules were voided. Residents sued. The association was dissolved by court order. The neighborhood went quiet after that. No patrols, no letters, no fake authority. Just a road by the water. The same place they tried to stop me. And every time I drive past it now, I remember one simple truth. Some people think authority comes from uniforms and rules they invent. But real authority, it shows up when someone refuses to be bullied and makes the bullies answer for it. Subscribe to witness what happens when someone refuses to bow to fake authority. Then like the video if that ending made you feel the weight of truth finally winning. And tell me in the comments, if you were in my shoes, would you have stood your ground or walked away?